What is up, you guys? Captain Tsukasa here, coming at you with a Furnimal or Fluffal deck profile this time. I wanted to build this when it first came out, but I don't think it was very good. I did a few different builds for it, but really the only thing you could do was just go into Wolfful and try an OTK that way. Then Tiger came out and it got a bit better, and now I finally think with all this new sort of support, it's become a deck that can stand on its own. I still mostly use my entire hand to do any play, but it's the cost you pay for this deck, I guess. So going straight into it, we play Triple Tomahawk. This card's really good. Foolish Burial in monster form, summon it, dump Scissors, it becomes Scissors then. So you can fuse using it then. Or you can dump like Chain from your hand, deal 800 damage, and then Chain's effect will trigger to search out. Triple Dog. Dog's the Stratos of the deck. The only problem is, or there's two problems with this card really. One of them is the limit that it's only when it's normal or special from the hand you get the search, and that's manageable. The other is that, and it's a common trend with this sort of the early Fluffal cards, is that it says you can add one Edge Imp, Scissors, or Fluffal monster from your deck to your hand. So the problem with that is that back when Edge Imp, Scissors was the only Edge Imp, that might have been okay, but now we also have Chainsaw and Tomahawk. And that kind of sucks a little bit that we don't really have a good way of searching them out. I mean, there are two cards you can use. I only play one of those. Well, I play two copies of one of those cards in this deck. But it is just a bit of a bummer that Dog can't do that. But either way, Dog is a good card and you want to run it at 3. 3 Edge Imp Chain. This card is really good. When it declares an attack, you can add an Edge Imp Chain from your deck to your hand, searches itself out. And when it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a Fright Fur card from your deck to your hand. It can only really be used to go into one of the extra deck monsters, but that also is a really good extra deck monster, so you can't complain too much with that. We then play Double Bear. I think you only really need 2 bears in this build. It lets you search out Toy Pot, or Toy Vendor I believe is the English name, and it does let you add that polymerization to your hand from your graveyard, so I think 2 works well. Double Edge Imp Scissor. So the thing is with this card is that we play, I think like a decent chunk of our extra deck needs Scissors Fusion material. I think 2 is definitely all that you really need to play. And I also only played 2 to make room for the Edge Imp Saw. Saw is probably the worst of the 4 Edge Imps in the deck, which is why I only played it 1. But the monster you can go into it, Leo, is really strong, and it shouldn't be underestimated at all. You can dump this card pretty much straight away with Edge Imp Tomahawk or whatever. If you draw into it, its effect isn't too bad, but otherwise I don't think you would use this card too much, nor should you run it at more than 1 really. You play Double Owl. Owl is really good, but at the same time I hate that it has to be summoned first to get its effect off, because oftentimes it's going to take an extra turn if you don't have your scissor play set up or something like that. So it can be a bit of a hassle if you search it out with Dog or whatever. But it can also act as its own fusion or polymerization. So it's definitely a good card and you definitely want to run it, but I'm only running it at 2 because I felt that it could get a little bit cloggy. And again, it can take a little bit of time sometimes to set that play up. Triple Sheep. Sheep's really good. I don't feel like I need to say too much about it, but it lets you bring out that extra Edge Imp that you can then use with like Fright Fur Fusion or whatever. And yeah, I just find this card to be really good. 1 Cat. Cat's down to 1. Cat used to be like a 2-3 card, I think, but I don't really think you need to run it like that anymore. It's kind of very situational, but being able to add back that polymerization can be really good and can really help to push out those plays, especially those Mad Chimera plays. But I do think Cat's good at 1. Then into Triple Mouse. This card I was debating on hard, because in one sense it is really good, being able to special summon 2 mouses from your deck, then you've got 3 mouses on the field. You can go into a wolf play, a tiger play, or you can go into tiger, then Fright Fur Fusion into a wolf. It's really good. It gives you like 2 extra destructions or attacks then. So why would I be debating running it? Mostly because it needs to be on the field to get that effect, which is a problem I really do seem to have with this deck. There are quite a few ways to be able to, do a normal summon and a special summon and things like that, but it does oftentimes feel like it's a bit of a drag trying to get that to work in that. And then there's drawing into more than one of them, which also really sucks. And there's been a few times where I've done like tried to basically sack my opponent with toy vendor plays, and I've like discarded a mouse and then drawn into a mouse. And that hasn't ended too well for me, but I think you could run it at 2. I think you definitely could try that. But 3, I'm still kind of testing out, and it's working okay enough to warrant me to continue running it at 3, but I could definitely maybe drop it down to 2 sometime in the future. And then I'm testing this out, King of the Swamp, as just basically the third owl sort of thing, so I can search out my polymerizations by discarding it. And it can be substituted for any of the edge imps for the fusion, so another way of going into Leo or Scissor Bear if you want to do that. I don't know why you'd want to do that. You could probably run it at more than 1, but I've so far had decent success with it at 1, and I'd probably keep it that way. Now onto the spells. This is where I really started having trouble with my ratios and how much I wanted to run of what. And as you can see down in my side deck, I did play a lot. Like I played the MSTs, I played Raigeki, Fusion Conscription, but I just couldn't find the room for them with them having to add Mouse and a few of the other cards. So it's very bare bones at the moment. We play 2 Frightfur Fusion. It's a Miracle Fusion to summon Frightfur monsters. There's no reason not to play this card. You can combo it with regular polymerization really well, just as you would Miracle Fusion. Especially you can go like Tiger with Fusion, pop all those cards, then Wolf with Frightfur Fusion, then direct attacks for days. Triple polymerization. I actually played 2-2 for the fusions at first, but I wasn't getting this enough and I needed it more, so I bumped it up to 3. And that's also why I added the King of the Swamp, and I haven't had much of a problem since then. Next up is the double Stitching Reborn, or I think it has a different English name, but I can't remember it for the life of me. It's good at 2 and it can sort of extend your fusion plays a little bit. Triple a Toy Pot or Toy Vendor. This card is still really good in the deck. If it gets destroyed, that's great because you can search out a Scissors or a Fluffal card. If not, you can do some mad sacky plays, or you can set up your plays with Scissors. So I just think that's really good and definitely worth running at 3 still. Onto the traps. I've just started testing this out and it's Fluffal Crane. I thought it might be good with the normal summon dog set this sort of play for like your first or second turn or something. It's been okay so far. I don't know if I want to keep it at or keep it at 2 or what I want to do with it just yet. But I do think it's worth running, especially since it just lets you add, dog gets destroyed, add that back and draw a card. It's pretty good, I think, and 2 is what it's staying at for now, at least. Double Frightfur customization. I think this one is Designer Frightfur in the TCG, but I'm not entirely sure. But this card I much prefer over the Stitching Rebirth. Is that what it is? Stitching Reborn. But at the same time, it's a trap card, so it's a little bit slower. But other than that, I think it's much better. It doesn't negate their effects. You can summon an Edge Imp or a Fluffal monster in your graveyard. If you use it as a fusion material, it can be Frightfur, and it doesn't negate their effects. Nor does it stay attached like Call of the Haunted or something, so if it gets MST'd, there's no problem there at all. Basically a really, really good card, extends your plays like crazy, and I almost want to bump it up to 3, but I kinda am just going with the 2-2 ratio with Stitching Reborn and this for now. Then Double Fusion Reserve. I actually like this a lot better than Conscription. Mostly just because Conscription's main problem, in my opinion, is the not being able to summon that monster or use their effects. Now, while that can be really good on like the first or second turn of the duel to set up your future plays, I think at the same time, not being able to like, if it's your second turn, for example, and you search out Scissor, you can't then do a Scissor play after you use it fusion material. You can't special summon it, or if you summon out Chain and use that as fusion material, you can't use its other effect. So I just think Fusion Reserve, while it's a bit slower, is better, and still, at the same time, it's still that good early game card to search out, because despite the slowness during that like first turn, you're still not really going to lose too much, I don't think, by setting this and waiting till next turn to use it. I also think that letting you add that polymerization from your graveyard to your hand can make it a decent card to have later game as well, but it's probably just best early game to search out that Edge Imp card that you need at that time. Onto the extra deck. We pretty much only play fusions here with a couple of XEs. I didn't actually want to play XEs at first, but there was space to fill and I didn't want to play more than one like Leo or Mad Chimera, so I thought I might as well. But I'll have you know I've never once gone into them. So into this we play one Mad Chimera. You pretty much only get this card out for like, I guess, fun value, I suppose. It's a good card, but it's just the material. You need 3 Frightfare monsters for it, and you probably already used up all your cards to go into just 1 or 2 Frightfare monsters. So late game is like a final ditch resort or whatever. This card can be really good, but otherwise I think it's mostly just a fun value card to have. We play the 1 Leo. This card is really, really good. I almost want to bump it up to 2 now that I play King of the Swamp. But it's been working at 1. You can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and destroy it, and then inflict damage equal to its original attack. That's pretty strong. The only downside is it can't attack directly that turn. But I don't think that's too bad, really, because you'll usually have like a Wolfat or something anyway. We play 1 Bear. Bear's not that good. It can be okay against some decks I've found, but it's not that good. I'm only playing it just because I can play it, really. Double Wolf. You can bring Wolf up to 3 if you want, but I kind of just like it at 2 at the moment. It is your main OTK card though, and that's why I think 2 is good. You're not really ever going to go into 3, and 3 is a bit overkill anyway. Triple Tiger, the MVP of this deck, this extra deck. When it's fusion summoned, you can pop cards on the field equal to the amount of materials used for it. So that's at least going to be popping 2 cards. You can pop any of your opponent's cards, your toy vendors, whatever you want. It's really good. There's no reason to not run it, and it combos really, really well with the Wolf. Especially since all Frightfare monsters you control gain 300 attack for each Fluffal and Frightfare monster you control. Triple Sheep. Sheep is another really good one. 2000 attack and 2000 defense. It might not seem like a lot at first, but when it attacks or is attacked, your opponent can't activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step, so it sort of helps to handle Burning Abyss or Shadows or things like that. And then when it's destroyed by battle or by an opponent's card effect, and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon it from the graveyard and it gains 800 attack. But you can only do that once per turn. But still, that's pretty good, being able to just bring it back once per turn for free, plus stronger. Then onto the XCs, which again I've never really gone into. We just play M7, Strike Bouncer, Castel, and Lavalval Chain. So thank you guys for watching this. I feel like this one was a little bit rushed, and my voice is starting to get a little bit strained. But I hope you guys did enjoy it. As per usual, if you have any suggestions or improvements for the deck, please leave them in the comments. If you have any deck profiles you'd like to see me do, please comment that as well. And if you could subscribe to my channel, thank you. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later.